So let's jump into it. The first guy in our top 20 list, ringing in at number 20. All right, back to producing. Here we go. We got Jimmy Clark. And for all of these, we're going to expose everyone's rankings. Shit, this might be one that we have to pull Mateo in to talk a little bit. I thought I was going to be the high guy on Jimmy, and here we have Mateo at 13. Lowest ranking, we actually had 4 people ranking him at 23. Brett, yourself included. Again, that's just outside of 20. It's not like you're shitting on the guy, but do you think that this is a guy that warrants being top 20?
Yeah, I have no issue with that. I think you kind of, as we were talking a little bit about Amidovsky, like you have kind of that tier where you see a lot of guys the same. I think Jimmy Clark's kind of in that tier. Like I think for me, like from 17 probably to, I would say 20. Let's see, where's my 23, 24. I would say like he's like in my tier of like 17 to 23. I could have probably put in any order. So I have no issue with him. I think, especially you look at where he was taken in the draft and what he looks at, the fact that he even has potential, I think is really exciting and looks like it could be, even if he turned into a good AHL, or was he a 6th or 7th round pick, I believe, right?
7th.
Yeah. Like I think, if you can even turn a 7th round pick into a good AHLer, I still think that's a good pick, all things considered. So.
Yeah, we had him on the show on Fellowship of the Rink, and he flat out said like, oh yeah, I did not think or expect that being drafted was a thing. So I was actually out just skating and like hanging out with the boys, and all of a sudden someone texted me. I was like, hey, you got drafted, right? He's like, oh, okay, cool.
To the war? What war? Where did we start doing that again?
Z, I'm curious from you, because you've generally been higher on Jimmy Clark than me when we just talk about him. Are you just like that excited about some of the other guys, or is there any reason that you've got like hesitation with Jimmy?
No, I mean, I think just given some of the players they drafted the last couple of years too, was he last year, 2 years ago? But some of them, like the more recent draft picks. But you just look at like the overall profile. He's like average size center. He's a decent, not great skater, but really hard worker, solid. He's a hardworking defensive center. He's really fun to watch, like off the cycle. Against the rush, plays really well under pressure, makes really good passes, like really fucking good pass with the puck. So like, again, I put 20. I think in this, where they're with the Wild, with where they're at with the prospects now, you could like put for me like 10 to 20, almost in any order. And I'm like, yeah, probably, I don't know. But like, we just like look at the physical profile. A lot of that, like, it kind of stacks up against him. That being said, he works super hard. He's a really smart fucking player, really solid defender. And again, just watching him play off the rush and off the cycle, how well he passes the puck. His ability to kind of like play with a handful of line mates, play any position. We saw him at the beginning of the year last year, where like he was playing on that top, we called it they like on the roster, or they tweet out the lines like the 3rd, 4th line or whatever, but like he was playing with what like Matthew would. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he was putting up over a point per game at that point. Then all the injuries happened. Guys went to World Juniors and obviously like really mixed up the lines. And that's where the production started falling off. That being said, like when you watch the Gophers play, like he was noticeable almost every shift. And he can kind of like give you a little bit of everything. But I think, just looking at like the physical profile and the type of player he is, again, like just the way the NHL is going, like what exactly does he look like in an NHL lineup? Like where does he slot in? Still a bit of a question mark, but I just still think he ends up making it somewhere into the NHL. Just given how hard he works, how smart he is, some of the tools that he does have going for him. But it's a tough projection to like really get an idea of exactly where he slots in the NHL lineup. But I just have a funny feeling that he does end up doing it.
But you hit it to a T, man. Like if you asked me at the beginning of last season if I'd have Jimmy Clark in my top 20 for prospects this year, especially if you told me like who he drafted, whatever, I never would have thought that. It's the versatility piece. Like we always knew that he was a super versatile player, but we hadn't seen him play with the guys that he did this year to start the season, right? He fit in so perfectly, and he's such a good complementary player. He just thinks the game the right way. He's adaptable. I'm not going to compare like the skill necessarily, but he's a guy that gives me all of the like Ryan Hartman and Brian Rust vibes, where he's never going to really have a defined role, but you can put him on your first, second, third, fourth line in any given game, and you're going to be comfortable doing it. And a different comp, I guess, like a Kyle Rao kind of guy, where he can be a perennial AHL stud and like be a guy you're comfortable calling up in a pinch if someone gets hurt or you need a filler. I just see so many paths for him that's why I have to have him ranked the way I do. Now, this season's going to tell a lot because he's going to be playing with different guys and he's going to have a different load to carry. That could thrust him up the list more, or maybe I pump the brakes a little bit and I don't think that he's got the same trajectory, but I just, having that many paths in is why I can't overlook just how he compares to some of the other guys that have a lot more question marks, I guess.
Yeah, and I think if you look at kind of like, I mean, this hasn't been just a specific like Guerin regime thing too. The Wild historically have loved the type of players who are kind of that Swiss Army knife that can play kind of anywhere in the lineup. Like if they ask you to do something and you can do it, they want to get you into the lineup. And I think to your point, like he has some of those attributes where he can, kind of do multiple things, which if you're able to do that, and you're not kind of a one-trick pony. It does, I think, improve your chances of finding your way into NHL lineup if you can fill a role that a team is missing.
Now, since Guerin was brought up, we do have to point out he's not 6'4", so he probably has no chance, but aside from that. All right. That is number 20, kicking off the list, Jimmy Clark of your Minnesota Gophers.